Exclusively from the Japan Mobility Show here in Tokyo. This is here the next Toyota Corolla, and you can obviously see it now looks like a supercar. What is happening? We have seen a similar thing with the Toyota Prius lately, where it went from a technology carrier only, and maybe like the ugly duckling, to a very actually sporty and beautiful vehicle, now available as in-built hybrid and plug-in hybrid. And something similar will happen to the Toyota Corolla. First important aspect, as you can see, the design, which is now way sportier than before. Look at this very sleek front here, actually optimization for aerodynamics. Light strip goes all the way through in the front, looks pretty cool and really dramatic with the lights, Lexus alike. The wheels, in this case, 21-inch. Not sure if the series Corolla will come with 21-inch, but it looks really striking, definitely. And then also this floating roof line. This is a very interesting concept with this separate glass housing on the top. So the question is, do you like this new design of the Corolla? Because it affects so many people. In many years, the Toyota Corolla was the most sold car worldwide. Sometimes it switches with the Toyota RAV4, for example, which is the most sold worldwide. So what they do with this vehicle will matter to so many people worldwide. And now comes the second very important aspect about the technology. Because, you know, not everyone has charging infrastructure yet at the same time Toyota has to do more in electric mobility. And so they decided to go this so-called multi-path approach. This vehicle here, the new Toyota Corolla, will be offered in 4 different powertrains. And they will begin with normal combustion engine, ICE, then the typical Toyota in-built hybrid, where they have like the most experience with. Then also, like the Prius as well, as a plug-in hybrid vehicle, so you can recharge from the outside. And then also purely BEV, so the 100% battery electric vehicle. And the interesting thing is that they will house everything on the very same new platform here for this vehicle. So that was like the challenge, that they have one vehicle and one platform at the same time put all the powertrains in. What's the story behind it? We've seen recent trends on the car market. Some manufacturers have gone more to the EV focus, and they see, the EV change is not as quick as expected. Now they have to go back again. A lot of challenges. But for example, BMW, they said, we go this, similar like Toyota calls it multi-path approach. They said like power of choice, and we go the same platform, offer different vehicles. Now they go for a separate platform again. So it's very interesting what happens on the market. So some of the manufacturers have this project on this dedicated platform, then the other one on switching powertrains and so on. And no one really knows where the journey is going. That's why you have to adapt to the individual customer needs. So the question is, would you go A, indeed for this Toyota Corolla in this very sporty look, and B, which powertrain would you take? Would you take it as the internal combustion engine? Would you go for the plug-in hybrid? Would you go for the in-built hybrid? Or for the battery electric vehicle? I've been around here in Tokyo for the last days, and I was actually very surprised to hardly see any electric vehicles. Maybe 2 Teslas or Japanese purely electric vehicles. Most people here drive the in-built hybrids. It's still kind of silent because in the city they tend to use like the EV driving mode then when they go slowly and so on. So that definitely helps and also brings down the inner city emissions. But I was kind of surprised because here in Japan, especially in Tokyo, pure EVs would also be a good use case because you have not so high speeds, a lot of traffic in the city and so on and so on. But it will be possible with this all-new vehicle. Now we can also take a look here at the rear. See here the light strip. It's kind of split a little bit, but overall it goes through in the whole sense, and very dramatic rear, big Corolla lettering right there. Leah, don't fall off stage. Other reminds me of a GR Supra, or what do you think? So maybe the Corolla becomes the new Supra design-wise. Very, very strong hips here, so super dramatic design. But when you think about the Toyota CHR, it's also very dramatic, and it's also series vehicle, so that's the thing. They can once again take a look at the 21-inch wheels all the way in black, and also with these aerodynamic optimizations, for example. And then also about the interior, we can see through the glass here a little bit. The rear with this rather like single seat setup, you can see how it's like going in a little bit sport seats in the rear, and for the front, open lounge design. You see a large passenger display as well here on the right side, especially for the Asian markets. In the middle part, like a tablet there. So Maybe it's also used for picnic purpose or something like that. And the steering wheel and the seats, very sporty. These head restraints, for example, they close you in a little bit like that. And also you can see...
For the passenger and the driver.
Yeah, it's really, really different from passenger and driver. So you can see like a separation right there. Oh, they tried to open the door and obviously not allowed. Interesting. The steering wheel also sporty design goes in there a little bit. Capacitive buttons, however, hashtag capacitive BS. And you can see that the gauges like for controlling the seats and also the side mirrors, they are basically next to this steering wheel, left and right, separate columns as for that. So yeah, interesting to see these new ideas. And I also see like a cage for a head-up display there in the front. Yeah, so we'll see about that, how that one turns out. Kind of astonishing here that this is not a see-through glass roof in the rear, just in the front. You can see it's turned all the way up till here. So they're a little bit like a Tesla Model X, right? This is all glass area. But indeed, what we could not see from the front or the rear, that it stops kind of like here. So this is indeed like just a black panel design. And there is like a very thin ceiling from the inside. So I wonder if they will continue with glass roof then to the rear. But this is maybe more the idea that the rear passengers have a little bit more like enclosed comfort as for that. And also another interesting detail is here. So this seems to be the fully electric version, or it could be the plug-in hybrid, where you have the charging indicator then next to the charging flap. And at least in this concept here, we have a charging flap, you know, on both sides. So we could see that the charging indicator and the flap actually on both sides. So that's very interesting. One little look here to the rear. You can see the inclination of the lower rear bench all the way in fabric actually. So a cozy fabric for the interior to make it also breathable, not too hot in summertime. And then looking to the front, you can see here the cockpit perspective to the steering wheel right there. Interesting ambient lighting also in the footwell, for example. And then this split there with the middle console. Oh, nice detail here, the USB-C chargers in the back part of the seats integrated. And there you have the cockpit overview, again with this panoramic view in the top part, but not in the rear. So they could see again where this glass split actually ends. Check out the interest of the people here is like super crowded, and everyone is of course especially interested in the all-new Toyota Corolla, because there might be some fancy other concept cars, you know, and luxury vehicles and so on. Or here, for example, these new van concepts as well they have on stage for the new Hiace, for example. So like, because vans are also definitely a thing. I'm also always personally interested in the vehicles that people actually really buy, and that people also buy in the very high numbers. Other plans from Toyota, by the way, will be to split another luxury brand like Century, making it the top luxury brand above Lexus. And Lexus so-called going more into like a premium mainstream, and Toyota once again focuses on people, you know, like car for all people, like everyday people's cars and so on. And what they also do here on the booth is to present new mobility concepts. Also for transport, for example, you can see it here on the left side, where you just have this kind of like cargo bed and so on. So different interesting concepts. Design-wise, I think looks pretty cool. What could be a problem is then when you have like this very low roofline, like we have in a Toyota Prius, that of course at some point reduces headroom. What do manufacturers do? They put the standard fixed glass roofs on the car, that they can say, hey, we have the sleek roofline, we have better aerodynamics. At the same time, with a fixed glass roof, you have a very thin roof layer, and then again, you gain back the headspace you lose. On the contrary side, the thing is that you have like a lot of sun rays coming in from the outside. It gets really hot in the cabin. And they have like this, the filters in there, but we all know that with the cars, with the fixed glass roof, it's still always hotter on the inside than if you would have just a fixed roof. So these will be a lot of pros and cons definitely, and we will definitely keep you updated what will happen with the all-new Toyota Corolla. We have seen in the past that it's been a thing now recently that concept cars usually stick with the original design. Maybe in the past the concept car design was totally different to the serious production cars. But recently, and let's say like past 5 years, they usually indeed kept the design of the concept car also to define a vehicle, maybe a little bit less dramatic, maybe the side mirrors larger than. Or they also have this small display under the side mirror there. We sometimes see there some just flashing through there. Not sure if that one will come, but you can also see the charging flap as well. Wheels will be probably a little bit smaller, but I can tell you that this is already quite close to production, so this will be very interesting. What do you think about the new Toyota Corolla in design and also the powertrain concept? Tell us in the comments, and stay tuned here with more news from the Tokyo Motor Show, from the Japan Mobility Show.